How's it going, champs and friends all over the world? Today we're in Dr. Z's account pulling for the Summon Rush, second Summon Rush of this fusion. And I know that a lot of you will be pulling Ancients today for the 1+1 on the Legendaries, but we are going for Sacreds and the progressive chance on Islin. Strategos Islin. I'll straight up just start pronouncing the names of the champion the way that I want. Summon Rush, guys, we're hitting both fragments, so we gotta make 5,500 points. Let me just calculate how many Sacred Shards that is very quickly. 5? No! 5 is just the first one. I have to go back to school. That is 11 exactly. Sacred Shards, BB. 11 Sacred Shards. We gotta hit some gold, am I right? Dr. Z is a mid-end gamer. I would say closer to end game than mid game. And let's remind ourselves what kind of champions he's sporting and what kind of champions we're hoping to hit. Don't forget to use my promo link to get yourself a free legendary Raphma tab, as well as the epics Takeover, Ugo, and Lady Quillen as you level up. Here's how to do it. Log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. And that is all you have to do to get your free legendary Raphma tab, as well as Takeover, Ugo, and Lady Quillen as you level up in progress. So don't miss out and click on my link right now. Who do I not see? I see a lot of people, a lot of guys. Actually, I don't see a nut. Oh, here he is. I'm sorry. You do have a nut. Then it's entirely up to fate. It's entirely up to fate. Did you get Thalin? I don't think you can pull Thalin regularly. You haven't gotten Thalin. He'd be also pretty good. Either way, it's gonna be really hard for us to not hit a duplicate today, but here goes. Let's blow some luck in her lucky fingers. We're just gonna start pulling, guys. I'm not gonna waste any more of y'all's time. Give us gold. Okay, well, not outright, you know. Catacomb Counselor! A little weak increase attack before he attacks an enemy. Triple hitter, heals by 20% the damage inflicted. And the best one for last, the ally attack. He will join up with 2 random allies to attack a single enemy. They will use their default skills when attacking. When ascended, these 2 random allies become 3. 4-turn cooldown, it's a little slow, but it's great. Any ally attack champions can be very clutch in certain areas. Moving on, not focusing on the epics today, we want to hit some gold. Who are you? Siege Hulk. I've seen Siege Hulk once or twice before. Decreases the target's turn meter if the target is under decreased defense or decreased speed. 15% decrease. He probably... Okay, he brings the decreased defense on his own. He also places a strong increased attack buff on himself, then attacks all enemies. Strong increased crit rate and crit damage on himself, and then attacks one enemy. He also has a chance of placing a strong decreased speed debuff when ascended. 3-turn cooldown. Not a bad Ogren attack champion. Moving on. That's 3 Sacreds down her belt. We keep getting epics here. Blood Featherer, she, I think, is a Mikage fusible, but you've already fused your Mikage, so we don't care about Blood Feather all that much. She has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a crit on her A1. On her A2, she has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a crit hit, and also, when ascended, places a strong decreased defense for 2 turns and then attacks one enemy. On her A3, she is gonna place a 30% decreased speed on a single hitter for 2 turns, decreases the target's turn meter by 50%, that's a half turn meter deleter. Has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a crit. This is recurring on all of her skills, so she just has an extra chance of critting. I don't know how to feel about Blood Feather. Moving on. 4th Sacred Shard for the day. At the 5th one, we gotta go back and see what we've done. That is a Mistress of Hymns. Heals the lowest HP ally by 15% of the damage inflicted on a single hitter on her A1. A2 places a continuous heal, strong continuous heal buff on the 2 allies with the lowest HP for 2 turns if she crits. And on her A3, the slowest revive on Earth, 2 random allies with 50% HP and a veil. 5-turn cooldown. Go figure. She's meh at best. 5 Sacred Shards. We're gonna go and check our points before we go ahead and we pull the next batch. Alaric the Hooded shows up in almost every Sacred Shard pool that I do ever on any account. 30% of decreasing the target's turn meter by 7.5. Itty bitty. Decreases the turn meter by a further 3% for each buff on the target, which is great. You can actually bring that up to maybe a 15% if it lands. If it lands, it's a 50-50 when you book it out. On his A2, attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target before attacking, and has a further 75% chance of stealing 2 random buffs instead if the target has 4 or more buffs on a 3-turn cooldown. You can book that up that will become a 100% chance of stealing 2 random buffs if the target has 4 more buffs. And on his A3, he attacks all enemies with a 75% when you book it out 100% chance of placing strong decrease attack, strong decrease accuracy debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. And that's as much as I can say for Alaric. Let's check the summon rush points. Whoa, we're halfway there. Okay, let's get our head in the game. Let's get our head in the game. And now we're halving the stash. Where is Islin? We're looking for Islin. Hello, Melga. Melga comes up. She's a great reviver dwarf. For faction wars, she does wonders. She actually surprised me very pleasantly. I haven't really fully built her out yet, but she's one of the good performing dwarfs in faction wars. She's an HP champ. Make note. Attacks a single enemy with a 50-50 of removing a random debuff from a random ally. Cannot remove a debuff from this champion. You can bring that up to a, what is that, 75% chance? Yeah, it's a 75% chance. It's a little random the way that this lands, but it's fine. This is not where her biggest utility comes. This is a great skill. On a 3-turn cooldown, once booked, she's gonna place a shield buff on all allies equal to 20% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. When you book it out, that is a whopping, astounding 40% of this champion's max HP on that shield. Ginormous shield. It can be if you stack her HP really, really high. Also places a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. This is great help. And now her revive. On a 5-turn cooldown, you gotta book that one out because otherwise it's just diabolical. Revives 2 random allies with 20% HP and 20% turn meter when ascended. Also places a shield on the revived allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of their max HP. You wouldn't expect it from little Melga over here, but she actually is amazing support, HP support in faction wars. Even in Curse City, whenever you are required to use some dwarfs, she can do wonders. 7 shards deep, guys. Let's see what the 7th sacred shard has in store for us. It's just epics today. It's just epics. It's a Grimskin. I'm not a fan of Grimskin. And now I'll get attacked in the comments section. Attacks an enemy, has a small, teeny beeny 50% chance when ascended of placing a strong decreased speed for 2 turns. On his A2, he attacks one enemy twice. Each hit has a 70% chance when you book it out of placing a provoke for a turn. Has a further 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff on all enemies for a turn if the first provoke debuff is placed. So if the first provoke lands, that becomes an AoE provoke. But the chance of it landing is just smaller. A3 attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance of removing 1 random buff from each target. That is a 100% chance when you book it out. 4-turn cooldown, just a tiny little bit slower than I would like it to be. You know, there's a lot of champions with complete buff strips, block buffs, etc, etc, etc. He's nothing special to me. 8 sacred shards. Come on. What are you? Oh, okay, it's the bear. Urson Ironhide. 35% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 1 turn at random. Double hitter. Each hit has a 100% chance when you book it out of decreasing the turn meter by 5. It's 10 in total if it lands. Decreases the turn meter by 10% instead of the target's under a decrease attack. So that is a 20% turn meter decrease instead. Does he bring that decrease attack? Yes. AoE with a 100% chance of placing it for 2 turns, 4-turn cooldown. Passive. Each hit has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 7.5. Each hit also has a 50% chance of putting one of the target skills on cooldown if the target's under a decreased crit rate debuff, which he does not bring, but you can find it from other champions. How are we doing on points again? I want to see. Math should be mathing correctly and properly. Yes, we have... Damn, I don't know what's happening to my eye. It's like itching really bad. 3 more sacred shards, guys. It is no guarantee that we'll hit something. But on Dr. Z's account, we pulled last Primal Shards, and we pulled 1 Sacred Shard, and we hit gold. That's why I'm not expecting us to hit any gold today. It would just be very nice. We're pulling for points, though, which is what's important. And Dr. Z's prepared with all the sacreds that we need for these points. Also, very cute support for the Skinwalkers. I've used mine in Faction Wars so far. Haven't really had the chance to build them out. I think this is a she. I was astounded by this piece of information when I pulled her on my own account. Double hitter with a teensy beansy chance of placing a stun. Strong increase attack, strong increase crit rate on all allies for 2 turns. On a 3-turn cooldown is very quick. And here is the revive that I was talking about, the revive in question. 5-turn cooldown. When you book it out, again, you have to book it out. 7 turns is way too much. Revives 2 random allies with 50% HP and fills their turn meters by 50%. And when ascended, a 25% strengthened buff on all allies for 2 turns after the revival. This revival is amazing. 50% HP and 50% turn meter fill already. Increases resistance in all battles by 40. And that's an urn. It looks like an urn. 2 more. Let's see if anything gold will come out. That is a Sacred Order champion. That's Fenax! Fenax is so good. He's so good for late game progression. If you get him, you will never part with him. I'm sure the Dr. Z already has all these champions that we just pulled and talked about, but we gotta go through their kit just in case any of our viewers are not acquainted with what these champions do. This is a single hitter and places an extra hit if the target has any debuffs. Enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived. That is a block revive. When ascended. So make sure to send them ASAP. On his 8-2 attacks on enemies with a strong chance, 80% chance when you book it out, of placing a block buffs for 2 turns. Then he's gonna place a block active skills debuff for a turn. If this skill does not place a block, buffs does not land. Crazy stuff. Decreases the bomb debuff detonation countdowns by 1 turn when you combine with Talia, his dear beloved wife. On his 8-3, he attacks one enemy with a chance, strong chance. 60% chance of placing a 60% strong decrease defense debuff and a 30% decrease speed for 2 turns. This skill here is crazy. And the fact that you can block revive with this A1 makes him an absolute staple in Ice Golem. Hell, you might want to take him down to Classic Arena as well, tag team. Faction Wars 100%, right? Because you can actually pair him with Talia. Overall, really good champion. Am I mistaken that we need to pull 1 more shard? I kind of lost track there. 1 more shard to get these fragments. 1 more. Let's see if this is the lucky one. Please, Clutch. Please. God, we couldn't hit any gold today, but we sure did hit some points. Ator is a provoker guy, right? I see the bull here, and I think that he also had a provoke on his A1. Yes, okay, so attacks one enemy, has a chance, it's a 50-50 of placing a provoke for a turn. Then he's gonna attack 2 times at random, A2. Each hit has a 50% chance when you book it out, 75, of placing a provoke debuff for a turn. And here on his A3, he plays a counterattack when hit with a crit. When ascended, he's also gonna heal by 15% of his max HP. And then he's gonna place the counterattack. On his other passive, which is the cool one, he's immune to stun, freeze, and sleep, but only available when Kalia the Burner is on the same team. Are they wedded? We're pulling the bewedded champions here. This pool is the wedding pool. Ator has been summoned, naked and unafraid. And that is all the points! Those were a lot of sacred shards and not a hint of gold, but that's how these things are when there's no 2x. And even so, it's so random, it's so day by day. Don't even know. But we did what we came here to do. If you guys want me to pull your shards, you can always hit up my Discord a couple of days in advance so I can fit you in my schedule. You can find the Discord link down in the description box. You know how these things go, you know the drill. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys again in the next one. Bye!